Yeah, so welcome everybody to our very last discussion for today. And a very warm welcome to our filmmakers. Please come up on stage. Kıvılcım, are you? Ah, yeah. Welcome. Want to sit here? Yeah.
If you like, you can all come closer to the discussion.
Yes. The room has emptied out a bit. It's quite late, but yeah, feel invited to come closer to us. So we are not so lonely here in the front. Ow. Yeah, welcome also to you, Sheena, for that you are joining us online. I think from Ireland, is it right?
Yes, I am. Yep. Hello.
Welcome. Yeah, we just learned that Lena, the filmmaker of Like a Dream with Open Eyes, cannot join us because she's sick, actually. But it's great that you are here. Thank you for sharing your beautiful films with us, and I'm really looking forward to having a conversation about them with you and our small audience. So is there any questions from the audience so far? Okay, so if not, then I will start with a question to you, Kıvılcım. So first of all, it was a really beautiful testimony of how the pandemic made us question so many things in our lives, also like concerning broader questions and topics of loneliness and who we want to be, identities, and how this also affects our social media use. And yeah, the testimonies illustrated this in a really beautiful and sometimes poetic way. And I'd be really interested in learning more about how these statements actually came up and how you worked together with this group of students. And then also in hearing about the process of how you then thought about and chose the images for the film.
Well, first of all, thank you all for bearing with all of us and watching the film. It's very late. Who Am I is my MA graduation film, which didn't plan it to be a collaborative one, but initially with the pandemic it became one. And at that time, before the pandemic, I was already in the field for 2 years, and I was searching for identity practices and performances. Then when the pandemic hits, I felt like very in touch with the material world. And I was, first of all, I started all this keeping diary, video diary. And then we kind of like experimented with students. You know, I asked them if they would like to join, and I had this set of questions, and I asked them if they would like to answer the same questions, and if they would like to make a video diary of their life as well. And they did. And we kind of like experimented through the identity performances of like being, in a sense, and kept open to all the possibilities of relational possibilities of the being as well. So, but I think the harder part for me, as you asked, the montage, it was because they sent some of the parts, for example, the one with the ghost and the fish, it sent already like full montage. And the sound was off. As you see, there are some problems as well. And colors were changing and the light was changing. And I didn't touch these 2 parts. I used it as they sent me. And I had some sound footage and some photographs. I collect them all. In weekly meetings, we met weekly, and we kind of discuss about the film, share our thoughts and feelings about how we feel as well. So kind of like we kept open to all those interrelations. So it kind of happened to be a shared process for us, the editing part as well.
But all of this actually happened online, like all of your meetings, or
The editing part?
no, the meetings before that you talked about?
Yes, it happened online, yeah. We weekly met, and we kind of like happened to be like, this film happened to be like a sharing place for us. We kind of, sometimes they send me footage, and then I was sharing my footage as well. Then I add top of it when what they send me, for example, with the fishes. And then it's basically we go through the time of 6 months. Then we edit our narratives to each other, kind of like relate one to another. So basically, it's going on like this.
Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting process. Does any of you have any questions? Of course, you are also invited to like ask questions to each other. Also you, Sheena, as you saw each other's films also. But if not, then I will go on first with you, Constanze and Annika. So, well, I think your film was another impressive testimony of how the pandemic affected our lives and also our sense of like closeness and distance to other people, but of course also affects different people with different realities in really different ways. And yeah, by showing these different stories from people that are sharing the same space, it really draw an interesting picture of the transformation of this space, the Bahnhofsviertel, and the people in it. And yeah, maybe you could tell us a bit more about how you met the people and how you chose them and how working together with them felt like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we live in this district too, and yeah, we like kind of noticed that there was some change in it, so we wanted to research on it, I guess, and that's also how we started this process. So we got out on the streets and just talked to people and asked them. We had something in mind, like this transformation of this Bahnhofsviertel train station district during the pandemic. But also like asking different people how it was for them. And we also noticed that for some people, maybe there was not this change that we expected from our perspective, like being at home and not meeting our friends or something like that. So there was this, it was like the winter 2021 that we, spent on this research walks during the district or through the district.
Yeah, I remember one day we spent like in front of this substitution place, and it was so nice somehow because we didn't meet anyone for such a long time. I mean, we lived together, that's why we worked together as well, and many people that worked with us in the group. It was a collaborative effort. Most of them also lived with us, so that's why we could make it together, because there were like restrictions in Germany in that time. It was the second lockdown. And I remember this quite vividly, like sitting in front of this substitution place and having a very good time talking with everyone and just spending some days there. So it was like the way it was like a participant observation process. And And then we invited particular, some people. It's difficult sometimes to make get people to talk about these issues. We had an interview, like the same question. We always asked the same questions. We developed some interview questions and asked always the same ones. And so that's how we proceeded.
Yeah, it's interesting because because they are all interviewed in the same room, this really neutral, dark room. At the end of the film, I kind of got the sense that they all must know each other, but probably they didn't. Yeah. Any questions from our audience? Or do you have any questions to each other? Okay, then Sheena, we will turn to you. Thank you so much for this really beautiful film. I felt really touched by this story of how this old woman discovers this old chair, and then it just starts to dwell in all these family memories, and the way that we connect memories to objects. And also it was really beautifully made, like the combination of photographs and different drawings. I'm always really impressed with animations. So, I mean, I know that you are studying animation, so this is what you do, but I'd still interested in knowing, for you, what makes a story especially suitable to be told in animation, or is there something that you feel that you can express better? How is the process of choosing a story, or how is the process of choosing this story in particular?
Yeah. Well, with this story, my mother has a number of stories that she wrote, and I like looking at stories, I suppose, and trying to visualize myself what kind of movement and characters and things like that in the story. So it's this story in particular. She had a lot of descriptions of different people that she had known, I suppose, seen through the eyes of a child as well. And I just thought that was a really interesting story to translate over into animation. She had some photos of some of the people, old photos, obviously, of the people that she knew as a child. But I didn't want to see any of the photos at all. I just wanted my own interpretation of the characters, such as the policeman and the delivery, the mailman. And the insurance man as well. So I suppose I like the idea of the imagination of animation combining with kind of reality as well, and the kind of memories. I think it translates quite well. The cross between memories and animation. It's kind of dreamlike, really. So those are the kind of stories I like. Stuff that's quite visual, visual descriptions. It makes it easier for me to translate it, or to imagine what it would look like, what the memories would look like. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. I was wondering, did you actually paint the chair at one point? Because it then turns blue, right?
I know, yeah, I meant to, but I actually didn't have time, so it's a really bad Photoshop job at the very end. But my mother actually has painted other chairs that she's gotten. It's not just one chair that she had that she purchased from the shop. She actually kind of collects a load of chairs, and they're all painted blue and yeah, cream and everything like that to match her kitchen. So. But that actual chair that's featured in the animation, I have that in my own house, and it's still, I kind of like it. It's still all crusty and has cobwebs on it and dust and everything. So I kind of like it the way it is. So it's. I think it'll stay like that.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't have been able to tell that you didn't paint it. Okay, thank you. So do you have any questions to the other filmmakers?
I can't think of anything at the moment, but yeah, they're really enjoyed watching them.
You have a question? No. 2 more minutes. Okay, so this is your last chance for a last question. I know that it's late. Okay, maybe then it's just about time to come to an end. It has been a long and intense day. Thank you all for being here, and see you again tomorrow. And thanks a lot again for you being here. It's really great. Good night.